YouTube, welcome to the top 16 of the Meta Weekly every single week, bro. By watching as long as you can, that greatly supports these videos, even if you have us on in the background. We're going to start this off with Centurion Super Heavy Samurai versus a super top tier deck, Hajime.
There can only be one winner, and you're looking at it. Let's go.
We're going to start this off with our Super Heavy Samurai, Wakashi. Wakashi setting up the Benki into the back row, special summoning itself onto the field. If we control Super Heavy Samurai with the Benki, we can search our deck for the Soul Piercer, using up our normal summon. And now the opponent's going to get popping off with the Fire King Avatar Kirin. Kirin is going to be popping a fire from the hand to then summon itself to then trigger the effect of the Runick to then pop the Kirin. Kirin is now triggering to reborn the Ponix to non-target, pop a card in the field. What are we popping? Do we pop Wakashi? If we pop the Soul Piercer, it's going to activate to search our deck for a Super Heavy Samurai. We're popping that Wakashi. We have Negate Anything, plus the Trudean Primera summoning itself onto the field will then perform another form of disruption. So all of this is just 2 disruption, but what was really exciting about this is we had to play through 2 disruption. So we could pretend that this was going to be about 4 or more disruption, but it's only 2 instead because we had to go even with the Kirin and the Ash Blossom. Can we play through 2? We're going to use the Cosmic Blazar to negate the Fire King Sanctuary. Thus, we're now down to 1 disruption left. Trudea and Primera special summoning themselves back. Now, there's a problem when you try to disrupt the Fire King Sanctuary. When you activate this, similar to something like a Spirit Gates, it's activating, on the activation, you're searching your deck. Now, Spirit Gates is mandatory. You have to search your deck on the activation of a Spirit Gate. So what I'm getting at is you can't activate Spirit Gates unless you have a Dark Beckoning Beast in the deck to add. But that's not how the Fire King Sanctuary works. It's optional to play a Fire King Island. So for you to think that them activating Sanctuary means that they definitely have a Fire King Island in the deck, that's wrong because it's actually in the hand. So we're disrupting the Sanctuary while the Fire King Island was in the hand. Very important to know those differences here. A mandatory search, an optional search, and now we're going to get screwed up by that Fire King Island. Possibly. As the stand-up Centurion is going to be chain link blocking the Primera from being Ash Blossomed. You do want to put it on the higher chain link. As we now make a Supernova Dragon, I'm thinking. Yes, Crimson Dragon, target. Let's see. I'm excited to see this. Crimson Dragon, target the Auxilla. What? Siffer Divine Dragon? I gotta catch up on what this card does. This states that each time a card you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, it is not destroyed. And then during either player's turn, when the opponent activates a monster effect specifically, you can negate and destroy any card in the field. So you don't negate and destroy that card that activated. You negate the effect, and then you destroy, non-target any card on the field. And that's pretty interesting. Okay, so let's see how we're going to make that play. Ready for a monster negates, Little Knights. So we Little Knight target, we are going to negate and then destroy. So before being destroyed, we're just going to banish ourselves plus the Cipher, and then wait a second. Do we have to destroy our own card now? Because there's nothing in the field to destroy? If you do, mandatory, we have to destroy our own card on the field now. What the? We taking out the Scarecrow or a back row? Goodbye to Benki. Wait, it got protected because Auxilla says your back row cards cannot be destroyed. So we had to destroy our own card. Auxilla protected it from our own effect. Very nicely done. We're going to Original Sinful, send the Diablosaur to summon from the deck. And is this full combo or what? Are we screwed? We used Original Sinful to get to the Snake Eye Ash, so at least we're not going to be setting up with that. We had the Subversion to push a monster on the field into the back row, pushing back that Auxilla. And let's now speed this up. We're going to tribute over the Poplar, come forth and summon Poplar, sending itself in the back row. We're going to send the Poplar and the Ash to summon a Flame Burst from the deck. We're going to equip into the back row the Excel Synchro Stardust, which we could summon ourselves during the opponent's turn. You have to remember that with the Flame Burst. It's all about stealing monsters during the opponent's turn. We're going to be reborning 2 level 1 fires with the effect of the Flame Burst. We have the Dark, reborning a Dark monster from the opponent's graveyard to then make a Promethean Princess. Promethean, reborn from the graveyard, our Runick, triggering Runick to pop an Arvata from the deck, trigger Arvata, reborn from the grave, Kirin. And, straight to battle. Okay, is this enough for lethal? 8,700 damage. Just like that, no Zealantis shenanigans needed. Oh boy, a seam 25, very well done. Despite them being able to set up a field of 2 disruption through your 2 disruption, you were able to play through 2 disruption to 1 turn kill. We have Motorbike searching our deck now. The problem here is the Nibiru. Can we, within 5 summons, set up a Baron de Fleur? Baron de Fleur will be summonable through our Stardust Excel Synchron. Yeah. And we do have an actual Stardust Dragon. So we're going to get to this really hairy situation that you're about to see soon as we're on summon number 3. Scarecrow, discard Wakashi, Reborn, the Soul Piercer. This is now, we're in a very weird situation. What do we do as the Super Heavy Samurai player? What do we do as the Nibiru player? This is a really good learning moment for everyone. This will be quite complicated. So we're on summon number 5, and we're going to trigger on summon a Reborn, a monster from the grave. So if we activate Nibiru right now, you could think it's unoptimal because the monster that the Excel Stardust Synchro is reborning from the graveyard will not be tributed by Nibiru. So ideally, you want the Excel graveyard, the Excel Synchro Stardust, only with that level 2 on the field, and only if you're playing a Stardust Dragon in the extra deck, which everyone is not doing. Not everyone. Let's see the analytics. So if I were a Seam right now, I'd be opening up the website, I'd be legally cheating. Who cares? Let's type in Stardust Dragon, and we would be looking how many are being played in Super Heavy Samurai. 80% are playing it, so 20% are not playing it. That's kind of a hairy situation. I'm not sure if you really want to risk that, you know, the majority are playing it. So you probably have to Nibiru now, and if you don't Nibiru now, if the Excel Stardust Synchro activates after there's a level 2 in response to Nibiru, it's going to be summoning it unaffected by Nibiru, Baron de Fleur, Omni Negate. Let's see what happens. We're triggering the Soul Piercer. Oh, we couldn't set Phalanx. We couldn't set Phalanx. The Link monster equipped onto Borreload's blocking. If we didn't have a way to destroy, we could have set the Phalanx. Oh my gosh. So our disruptions here is negate an effect and destroy a card in the field non-targeting. Negate an activation. So negate an activation is different than negating an effect. How's it different? If I activate a field spell, you negate the effect on the activation of the field spell, it stays in the field. If you negate the activation of the field spell, it goes to the grave. And then the back row monster summoning into a disruption, plus the Drone Lockbird. So you have about 4 disruptions. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go. And unfortunately, we don't have the Phalanx due to room. Not enough room. If we could have summoned a Baron de Fleur, we would pop our own back row to make the room. We have our Vata, which will be able to negate a monster effect as the Diablo Star summons itself by discarding a card. We have Original Sinful, send Diablo Star. Max C, do we chain Ash or our Vata negate? Probably Ash. Negate. We still have our 4 disruption. Now, we could have negated the Ash through the effect of the Stardust Cipher. When your opponent activates a monster effect, it doesn't have to be a monster they control. It could be a monster from the hand. We're going to save it. We're going to negate the Ash, but the Arvata will negate the negate. The Borreload will negate the negate, negating the negate, as the Primera then chains on top of it, mate, into a Chain Link 6 with the Trudea. Are we done? There we go. Trudea, Primera, come forth and summon, trigger the field spell, and just like that, negated. As we're then going to be able to pop a card on the field. Pop in the Ash after negating the effect of the Ash. Primera, Chain Link, block, and Ash Blossom by putting the stand-up Centurion on a higher Chain Link. Searching our deck and making a Crimson Dragon, which will turn into a Blazar Dragon is what I'm expecting. So we chose to summon a Cipher over a Blazar Dragon initially. The negate and destroy was seen as better than Blazar just negating. We have Sinful Spoil Subversion, push that Blazar into the back row, dodge it by negating. I don't think so. But now we just have Drone Lockbird, if you even count that as a form of disruption. Damn, 1 and 1. Now Blazar is definitely is this like game bug? What's going on? Blazar is definitely a 1-card disruption. Cipher is 1 to 2 cards disruption. If we negate a card effect, then destroy another card in the field, you're essentially disrupting 2 different cards. So in some circumstances, it's highly conditional. The Cipher could be better than Blazar, which is what Rachni 2 believed to be, Cipher being better than Blazar. We have Courtier, which is going to be popping a Poplar to search our deck for the Ponix, which will trigger to summon itself onto the field. Yes. Ooh, drawing into a Nibiru with Ash. We have Nibiru. We have Runick if fire monsters destroyed to pop a Kieran from the deck to then pop a card in the field. That's a disruption. We have Arvata, which will be a negate. We have the Masquerina, which could go into a Little Knight, into a Banish, or an Apollo with multiple disruptions. So it's about 6 disruption right there. And we also have the Promethean Princess. So 7 disruptions, 7 to 8 disruptions, depending on what the Masquerina summons. Can we play through 7 to 8 disruption with a 6-card hand? Soul Piercer. We're going to special summon our Masquerina from the background through the effect of the Flame Burst. We're going to use the Ogre on the Masquerina itself. So the Masquerina is activating, and you're simply not just using it to summon into an Apollo on your own turn. That, again, is a good use of your Ghost Ogre. So we're now down to 6 disruption. As we link this up into Little Knight on summon, banish the Soul Piercer off the field, and then we still have 5 more disruption. Oh boy, I don't think we could play through 5 more. We have 4 cards versus 5 disruption. Wakashi set up the Benki. Benki activate to search our deck. We're going to banish the Wakashi. We're now down to 4 disruption. We already used up our normal summon, so we're going to grab a Soul Piercer. Sure. We don't have a Pendulum scale for the other side with the Benki to Pendulum summon our hand. Thus, not enough. And we are going to be pushing you back. And just like that, 8,800 damage. Snake Eye Fire King taking a Game 3 victory. Very well done. Good job, good job. They don't pronounce L's in Japan, right, Gia? Is that how that works? Gamma is going to be negating the Horus from searching our deck for a King Sark plus drawing an additional card. That is a massive negate. We're going to Ash Blossom negate, also negate the Triva Karma from searching for a field spell. It ain't happening, as we're going to follow up Wanted Seeker, search our deck for a Diablo Star. Now, Diablo Star being played in Lightsworn? Is this a Lightsworn deck? I have no idea what the heck this deck is. Horus, Diablo Star, Triva Karma? That is something sus. So we'll see what happens. Snake Eye maybe in our deck of Lightsworn, or Tearlament, that is. We have D-Lotus. Wait, Yubel also? Yubel, Horus, Diablo Star? I'm confused. We're going to Nightmare Pain, flip it up, pop in our Spirit of Yubel, searching for our Grave Scormer, trigger the Spirit of Yubel to summon Yubel onto the field. And all under Max C, by the way. What are we doing? We're making a Link Haribo. Holy moly, Scormer's going to banish to Reborn from the grave the D-Lotus. Is this, what, are you trying to deck them out? Or what, 27 more special summons or what? We're going to now summon our Diablo Star finally. As the Diablo Star sets up into the back row, our Original Sinful. Original Sinful has not been used yet. We're going to further link this up. Oh my gosh. You actually are going to get decked out. 25 special summons. Let's go. It's time. Are you ready? 25 special summons. We could do it. We have the Rainbow Bridge in the graveyard activated to search for our field spell, which was stopped by the Gamma. Crystal Beast Tortoise and our Walls of the Imperial Tomb. So we could reborn our Horus cards in the grave. Milling Droplets off the top of the deck. We have Original Sinful, send Diablo Star to summon from the deck our Snake Eye Ash. 23 cards left in the deck. Add from the deck Poplar. Trigger the Poplar. Summon itself onto the field. Activate, searching for a Subversion Mate, linking off into a Cross Sheep with the Curious. As we then trigger the Poplar to equip itself into the back row, send Poplar in itself as the Snake Eye Ash summons a Snake Eye Oak from the deck, Oak on summon, Reborn from the grave, our Poplar. 19 special summons left. Send the Poplar to summon from the deck our Flame Burst Dragon. With our Flame Burst, we're going to be reborning the I'm Seti from the graveyard to then Xyz into a Zombie Vampire. We're going to speed up the deck out by milling 4 cards off the top of their deck, stealing an Effect Veiler off the top of there, triggering the Cross Sheep to reborn from the grave Mudora, as we then use the Imperial Tombs to search for a Happy, returning back our Subversion. Fairy Tale Snow. Banish 7 cards to summon itself onto the field to make a Dugaris. Dugaris could draw 2 or reborn a monster from the graveyard. Draw 2, discard, reborn the Happy from the grave since we have the field spell on the field. Shokan into an Apollo USA. We will negate any form of hand disruption you have here as the Rhino Heart on normal summon sends the deck a Havnis, fusing with the Tortoise in hand to now make a Kick Kalos. 6 cards left now, 5. We are pulsating as we grab a Tearlament Kashtira. Tier, Kick Cal, send itself, mill 5, mill an additional 3 with the Tier Cash. We got the mill 8 combo here. 4 cards left. We missed out on milling an additional 2. Why didn't we send it to the graveyard? We have the Sharon triggering. Maybe we are not afraid of a Bestial. As we now make a Rue Kalos to counter something like a Nibiru. 3 more summons left. Zombie Vampire and Rhino Heart making a Masquerena. 2 summons left. Activate the Nightmare Throne. Pop from the deck. Spirit of Yubel. Activate to summon a Yubel from the graveyard onto the field. 1 more summon left as we now make a Little Knight. We could end our turn or summon again, then we win. What's going on? We just Effect Veilered? I can't even see that on the screen. Off the screen with the hand. The Veiler is off the screen. I can't even see it. It's not even behind my camera. It's just off the screen. Negate. The Apollo Mate. Negate. Shokan into Verte Anaconda. 0 cards left in the deck. Just like that, we have a deck out victory in the top 16 against a turn 1 Maxi. Wow. Let's go. Nightmare Pain, pop Yubel, search our deck for the D-Lotus. We have Imperm negate a monster, Phantom Yubel negate a monster, link off with a special summon monster to then Little Knight banish, then Little Knight banish again. We have about 5 disruption between 3 cards here. This would be another form of disruption, but Chamber is a card normally played in TCG, not in Master Duel. So very interesting to see this here. Vodka for free. I do want to see you cook with this. So we're not going to really benefit from the Yama with Escape here. Let's see what happens. Poplar on summon, Imperm, negate the Poplar mates as we're now down to 4 more disruption. Or link off the Poplar into an Anima, which will force the activation of the Soul of Rage. Otherwise, whoa. 4 disruptions, now 1. 1 disruptions, now none. Well, we'd have a Gamma, which is actually activatable. So with our original 5 disruption, we have now added an additional 1, which I didn't think was possible, that we'd have no monsters on the field to activate our Gamma. Get ready to Gamma. Now 2 Gammas could both activate, but in order to negate, you have to summon the driver or the negate does not happen. So if you would Gamma the Ash, you could then chain Gamma to negate the Ash, but then the original Gamma is no longer negating what the Ash is negating you from negating, so that's kind of counterintuitive. We're now going to further Shokan into a Zombie Vampire. Is this the Gamma? Negate. I don't think so, mate. Gamma, wiping out the Zombie Vampire. It does in fact destroy as we summon the driver from the deck. Now, what could Scar do after this? We could get thrust in. Are you ready to thrust any card we want from our deck to our hand? We're going to be milling a whopping 15 cards off the top of the deck. And are we going to super pop off from here? Well, if you don't pop off from milling 15, you're probably playing the wrong deck or it's not built very well. We have the Sulliak triggering, Tier Cash milling 2, Sharon performing a fusion summon here. Let's get to it. As we randomly mill in Ash and the Horus Field spell. Tearlament Kitcal, grabbing the Grief. We're going to send ourselves to Reborn from the graveyard. Before we mill 5, we're going to grab the Nightmare Throne. Summon our Rhino Heart, trigger Rhino, send the Havnis, in addition to mill 5, fusion summon into a Rue Kalos. We have 7,500 damage in the field. Fairy Tale Snow banishing 7 from the hand, field, or grave to come forth and summon. Mudora the Explorer, spin 3 cards from the opponent's graveyard. Back into the deck you go. We're going to chain Chamber as we then use the Rucals to negate the effect of the Chamber. Chamber trying to special summon from the graveyard, that is. Making a Cross Sheep, special summoning a Phantom, trigger the Sheep, Reborn from the grave, Snake Eye Ash, Ash at a Jet Synchron. Holy, this deck is infinite gas. What the absolute hail is this? Apollo USA 2400. What's really sad about this deck is this deck could not exist at the World Championship per the World Championship rules, because it would be taking away the Snake Eye cards from the Snake Eye Fire King deck, so you don't even get to, and also taking away the Yubel cards from the Yubel deck. But because we don't have those nasty little rules of the shared cards, you get to see a very interesting deck of Tyr, Yubel, Snake Eye, Horus. Damn. Very well done. 2-0 victory. Begin. We are going to get smiting. Now, this is there's a nuance to this. It's very, very important. A lot of people playing this deck, they say, I've read this multiple times, I've seen it in my YouTube comments, DK'd, Bystussy Runick sucks. I get ashed on my Huggin, and I say, no, you suck. You should not get ashed on Huggin, because you should use the Quem to chain link block the Huggin, as you see right here. I don't actually say that, but in a nicer way, chain link block the Huggin with the Quem. There you go. Quem block the Ash. Now you gain access to your limited to 1 field spell, and you are good. Reborn the Golden Sword Soul, come to us, Runick Fountain, and now we droll and lock Burden, which is a massive deal because the Tri-Edge Master right now wants to draw a card. I can't draw a card. How am I going to draw into a Runick card if you stop me from drawing? I think we got hard countered. We absolutely lose this to a Droll and Lockbird. Dead Runick Fountain. No way to draw randomly into our Runick spells. Oh boy, we have Imperm off the top of the deck. Negate that Baron de Floor. We do have a Max C. And since we didn't Max C in the draw phase, the Triple Tactics talent is now activatable. We are going to take control of the negated Baron de Floor as we normal summon the Jet Synchron, banish with the Magna Hut. Magna Hut triggering to also trigger the Golden Sword Soul to reborn from the graveyard or hand the Quem or a Cartesia. Quem is here. Quem on summon will send from the deck, which will be our Cartesia. To battle we go. We definitely want to link off of the Baron de Floor before we give it back in the end phase, as we now make a Little Knight. Little Knight is going to be banishing the field spell. Now, how do you get the field spell back? On the TCG, they have 2 copies of the Runick Fountain. So if you're playing White Forest, it's very difficult to, if any way at all, get your Runick Fountain back in the game. But because we are Bystial Runick, we have a card called Dissipator. So if the opponent activates a monster effect, return our banished Runick Fountain back in the deck to deal with, usually people only play 1 Little Knight. I think someone was asking earlier, if you Triple Tactics Sound, take control, then banish it with Little Knight, what happens? Do you keep the monster forever? It's going to go back to the opponent. You don't keep it forever. How good is Runick without the Runick field spell? That's the question of the day that we are being presented with at the moment. Are we going to quickly set up that Dissipator? As we banish the Magna Hut, which was one of the ways to help us get into our Dissipator. We do have another Bystial, which will again help us, but we're going to get rid of that Bystial to summon our Lubellion to get Regaining. Bystial regained, set up our back row cards. What are our forms of disruption here? Dispelling and Destruction aren't really disruption. And the Regain can reborn a Baldrake, the Baldrake being our only form of disruption. On a summon of a monster from the extra deck, we could attempt to banish it, and that's all we have. Let's see, let's see. What's up? Is the real Tri-Edge Master? Is the real Tri-Edge Master? He can't even be stopped with a Droll and Lock. You what, mate? What are you saying? Come forth, Kit Cal. Kit Cal is here on summon. We're going to get banished by the Baldrake as the Kit Cal searches or sends a Tier Lament card. So rip mill 5, rip also being able to special summon onto the field. And the Sharon could special summon. No, she randomly got discarded, which what the heck? And it looks like we have no viable fusion for the Sharon. So Sharon was sent to the grave by card effect, and we don't have Kit Cal since she is banished, so we can't go into Rucal, which was our only other fusion monster. FM Productions deck looks super, you know, this is Infernoble. This is interesting. A really well-optimized extra deck. We didn't have room for any more fusions. Now, it's important to note, Infernoble has one of the highest win rates in the game per a condition. And that condition, if we go to the top cards page, which is the official in-game analytics, and we go on to win rate when summoned, the Charles is an 87% win rate if summoned. But as you can see, it's difficult to summon as we make a Chaos Angel to on-so and banish that Promethean Princess from the game. Now, let's look at the Chaos Angel. Let's click on it here. Light was used, not dark, so your synchros are unaffected by activated monster effects. Now, be careful in using the dual log. If you click on the dual log, Konami is a small indie company. It does not show it correctly, but from here on the field, it does show it correctly. Diablo Star off the top of the deck. Discard a Renaud, come forth and summon. Diablo Star set up into the back row as the regained Reborn to the Graveyard Magna Hut. Darodurn is winning without Runick Fountain, because the regained, in a way, is kind of like a pseudo fountain of giving you continual card advantage every single turn. We are going to be activating a Runick Destruction before the activation of the original Sinful, sending the Diablo Star to summon from the deck. Regained, triggering. Regained is reborning and drawing almost every single turn. And not only did we reborn a Magna Hut then +1 searches for another dragon. So I can't believe how powerful the Regained is. I mean, I believe it. We now finally have a way to return our Runick Fountain back in the deck, but it looks like we don't even need it. Now, why are we in defense? Because we're a Runick deck, so we don't even have our battle phase, unfortunately. We're going to summon from the extra deck a Sleipnir, triggering the Quem, reborn from the grave here, further Shokaning into a Chang Ying. Darodurn, very good job. Good job to you. I'm very much impressed with you doing this well without the Runick Fountain being banished so early in the game. We're going to be grabbing Ricardetto through the effect of the original Sinful. Ricardetto, reborn from the grave, the Renaud. And what did I say? Return that fountain back. If that fountain goes back in the deck, which it will, and we gain access to it again, we are super screwed. Havnis, randomly mill 3, but we don't have any tier limit plays off of that anyway. Goodbye, Ricardetto. Reborn from the grave, Renaud. Renaud on summon, add back a banished or engrave equip card. Regained, reborn the Druid Swarm. We already used up the Dissipator. All the synchros, by the way, are unaffected from the activated monster effects. How do you out 3 unaffected monsters? Grabbing that Runick Fountain, now we're in big trouble. It also triggers the Chang Ying to non-target banish a card on the field and in the grave. Durendal equip. Cartesian is going to chain fuse. Into what? We are fusing into just getting the Druid Swarm into the graveyard triggers the effect to send the Renaud to the grave because it was special summoned before we activate the Durendal to search our deck. And to get around this, you could activate Durendal onto your opponent's monster instead of your own. So now it's gone. Let's say we equip it onto the Chaos Angel or the Chang Ying. That would have been the way. Ricardetto is back. Battle phase, we're going to banish it through the effect of the Runick Mane, which is a disruption only during the battle phase. And without Runick Fountain, very early into the game, it has been banished, and we were still able to absolutely dominate. Incredible job from Darodurn. Let's hop into game 2. FM Production. You have to summon Charles to gain that 87% win rate. Let's go. Max C it up. We're going to finger that Max C. Now, we are playing tier limits, and tier limits are dark monsters, thus the Bystials will completely nullify the fusion summon. Are we going to get screwed by that? By normal summoning Rhino, Bystial is a hard counter. And it's in the name. It's Bystial Runick. They are filled to the brim with the Bystials to hard counter your main plays. Havnis, that's it. It stopped. Wait. We sent Havnis and did not trigger Havnis. We didn't want to fuse with the Rhino Heart because we wanted to summon the Destrutto. That's something. That is something. We said no to Havnis. Uh-oh. This is not very good for us, is it? We ended on nothing. We could not whip out the Charles because the Roland got banished by the Baldrake. The Bystial's really got us good. I'm really, you know, had we triggered the Hovness, it would have been banished by a Bystial, then maybe they would have not the same amount of disruption they used on us. Or, I mean, they actually ended up banishing the Hovness anyway. It's a really interesting turn. As we send Druiswarm to summon the Lubellion to trigger the Druiswarm to send a card in the field that's special summoned. We have Lubellion setting up the Regained. To battle we go. We do not want to activate our Runick cards to then lose out on battle. So we'll skip our next battle for the next turn. Instead, summoning our Hugin, unsummon, discard to search our deck for our Runick field spell. Further Shokaning into a Chaos Angel, which will just be summoned through light. On summon, we're going to attempt to banish the Angelica. Angelica is going to dodge the banish. Summon a Roland if we have one. We may not have a Roland to summon. We don't have a Roland to summon. And because you activate a monster effect within the main phase, we're going to draw 2 off of that triple tactics talent. Quem on summon, send from the deck. When they have a Regained and a Runick Fountain and a Runick card to trigger the Fountain, it's over. It really is over. How are you going to stop this? We're now going to be summoning another level 10 synchro, something like a Chang Ying, and the monster synchros will be unaffected by monster effects. Tri-Edge on summon, draw a card. Further Shokaning into a Chang Ying. If we banish, we could trigger the Chang Ying to non-target banish a card from the field and in the graveyard. Goodbye to your newly sent Phoenix Gearfried. All we have is a Phoenix Gear Blade. Damn, we also have Dissipator. The Triforce is here. Completely unaffected from activated monster effects. We're going to be drawing 4 cards every single turn, reborning from the graveyard. And we even have Little Knight for, I guess, insulation from something like an Evenly Matched, which would still get rid of the Runick Fountain and Regained if we were not to leave up one of those cards. Off the top of the deck, Connector. Normally on summon triggers to summon a Dolphin, but I guess we play just one Dolphin and that Dolphin's in the grave, so we have Little Knight on summon. Go for the Chang Ying. It's unaffected, by the way, so it did nothing. We're going to equip the Magus. We're going to chain our Little Knight to your Engrave effect activating to banish your Little Knight. We're going to use our Little Knight to banish your Little Knight from banishing our Little Knight, as both our Little Knights now get banished. I think we're just having fun right now at this. No, we're not having fun. We're done. Thank you, FM Productions. Very unfortunate for you. Bystial Runick is just, it's a sleeper deck. Super clappage. Holy moly. But I'm very happy that you got top 16 with Infernoble. I just wish I was able to see the Charles. Where's the Charles at? Begin. Stand up. Centurion, discard a card, set up into the back row. A Centurion card to then summon itself from the back row. This is where the Imperm or Veilers come into play. Negate Trudea from setting herself into the back row plus a Primera, which would be another form of our disruption here. She's now stuck on the field, but with a Bystial plus Trudea, that could trigger the field spell to summon a Chaos Angel to banish a card on the field. And we just need a dark or light in either player's graveyard. The Emeth is an Earth, unfortunately. We may struggle to even find something that we could banish with our Bystial. We're going to use the Phalanx to wipe out that Garunix. Get the hail out of here. I do not think so. We tried to pop the stand-up Centurion, but it does have that effect of cannot be destroyed while you control a Centurion monster card, so we had to destroy the Trudea instead, which is enabling the Bystial into Chaos Angel play. We're going to set up the Fire King Island, popping our Volcanics to grab from the deck to then trigger Volcanics to summon a Garunix. We have Wanted Seeker searching our deck for Diablo Star. If Diablo Star discards the Veiler, then we are in play. Nope, it's not going to happen. We're going to set up into the back row the Snake Eye Original Sinful. If Diablo Star is sent to the graveyard right now, nope, we still can't Bystial. We desperately want a Bystial. If you could just link someone with Diablo Star, then we could trigger the field spell to get banishing. We're giving up? What if the Diablo Star was about to be sent to the grave? And then you Bystial, and then you field spell, and then you banish. Probably would still lose, but let's hop on the next one. Sure. Trudea set itself in the back row with the Primera. There is no disruption whatsoever from nonstop DC, so we're going to see the full power one-turn combo of Centurion. It's not that impressive. Generally, it's just 2 disruption. The power of Centurion is its resilience through a card like Max C. It does not care as much. We're going to speed on through this. Send from the deck an Emeth, and we're going to end phase Auxilla. So as I said, just 2 disruptions here plus our Max C. We're going to be able to banish a monster and then perform a level 12 Synchro. So let's see if we can play through just 2. Snake Eye Ash, we're going to use the Trudea and Primera. You do want to summon them separately because what if they have a Max C? Very important to do that. And then we can Primera afterward or just wait. Primera, come forth. And then we're now going to be triggering the Primera and the field spell, which will turn on the Triple Tactics talent to take control of a monster on the field. We have Emeth pushing the Trudea into the back row as the field spell is triggering to make our Crimson Dragon. And the Crimson Dragon will make a Blaze Art to negate that Triple Tactics talent, thus we'll just be relying on our Phalanx. We have not activated the Max C yet. So maybe the idea is to make Blaze Art, activate Max C, then negate a negate for the Max C mate, right? Right now, on resolution, activate the Max C. Genius. They have a negate, but we don't care, mate. We can negate the negate with the Blaze Art mate. Negate. Now we have 1 disruption left through the Phalanx, which is not requiring us to control the Centurion Auxilla on field. So if you take control of it, I could still banish. I'm still good. I also have a Bystial to protect ourselves from being lethaled here. And you're doing a bunch of special summonings under Max C. So you're feeling quite confident under that Max C, maybe thinking you have an out for just the Phalanx, but are you ready for the Druid Swarm in addition to the Phalanx? Let's speed this up. Actually, let's flame this on as we Ash Blossom negate the Fire King Island, mate. Let's go. I don't think we could stop this. Send, summon, Flameburge is here. Phalanx, before activating the Flameburge or linking off with it, we're going to banish it to special summon during the next standby phase. Diablo Star is now here. 6,000 damage. Can we put up 8k? But we do not know about the Bystials. Shokan into a dark. Holy moly, this is a bunch of special summoning. Reborn from the graveyard, the Auxilla. 7350. Making the Promethean Princess, but with no Flameburge in the graveyard to reborn. We instead reborn a Ponix. Hey, where's my Flameburge at? Yup, that's a scoop. Let's go to game 3. Poplar, Original Sinful. Let me just take sips during this, knock out some notifications. Tears the dead game though. Yeah, well, you know, they're still creating new champions. They created new cards, they released a bunch of new champions, and then people said, why can't I PvP with them? That's wild. Trudea is here. Activate in an open game state. It's not a trigger. We're going to chain Druid Storm where the Apollo is not able to chain negate the Druid Storm within the same chain of it already negating something else. Goodbye to that Link Rebo. As the Trudea now can't set up a Centurion card from the back, or we're able to potentially set up a Chaos Angel play here, but it's going to be thwarted by the Sacred King Runick, Papa Nakiran from the field or deck, Kieran trigger, Reborn from the grave, take out Trudea. Now we're stuck with a bunch of Bystials, can't even make our Chaos Angel. Even if we make the Chaos Angel, it's not made with the light monster, so it's affected by other activated effect monsters. Thus, the Promethean Princess and Grave could pop the Chaos Angel. It's just a mess. We should just surrender. That's exactly what we did. Good job to Nonstop DC. Let's keep on going. Ariana is here searching for our big welcome labyrinth. We're going to set our pot of P before activating it, banishing 6, double Typhon gone. What the heck? You have 2 Typhons? Do you have a third one in your extra deck? No, you don't. As you reveal 6 to grab a Call by the Grave off the top of the deck, set 5 pass. Oh my Jesus. Full monster negate, send the whole field mate or flip it face down, pop a card in the field, finger the graveyard. That is what the back row we have as we now Lubellion. Now, Lubellion is does not get affected by the Call by the Grave. You could finger the in-grave Albaz, you then return the banished card back. We're going to be using Impermanence to negate that Lubellion, holding off on our skill drain, because it does also negate our own monsters. So just chill on that. We could have chained Super Poly to the Impermanence to dodge the negate on Lubellion, but instead, we're going to save it for something better. Skill Drain. Do we chain Super Poly to the Skill Drain? Yes, we do. We are not going to be negated on that Alibur, searching our deck for... Well, first we're going to fuse into a Coritis. And then from the deck, maybe we're going to grab something to fuse with the Graveyard. A Branded in White, very likely is what I'm thinking. Or a Branded in Red, similar to the Branded in White. The battle we go. Coritis on the attack. Attacking into 2500. We're going to chain the Maxi to the Big Welcome. Summoning a Lady to then return the Lady to then summon the Lady back onto the field to block off the attack of the Coritis. Wait, we Ariana instead of Lady. Sure. We will get negated by our own skill drain unless we Daruma. Activate Ariana, chain Daruma, flip the field face down. Is that what we're doing? Big Welcome is another option. Big Welcome, chain to our activate effect to spin ourselves back, dodging the skill drain so the effect goes through to search our deck for the Torby. Torby could discard the transaction rollback to set up from the deck another Big Welcome Labyrinth, which is exactly what we're doing here. Nicely done. Labyrinth has a pretty good setup. Now the question is, how does Branded out the skill drain? And another question is, do we need to out the skill drain? Can we just brute force with big bodies that are negated, going for direct damage? Making an Albion. Albion's going to be sent to the graveyard for the Lubellion. So what you could do, I'll tell you this, is if we activate an effect to destroy the skill drain through something like a Guardian Chimera, we then chain our Branded in Red or our Branded Banishment to fuse with the monster that's activating to dodge the skill drain negate, and that's how we do it. We're going to be attacking direct with the Lubellion, blocking with the Lady as it's returned back to the hands, and then summon itself back onto the field, but a monster left the field through a trap effect, thus the Torby is summoning itself onto the field, discarding Ariana to then set up a Welcome Labyrinth to be used next turn. Come forth, blockage at 29. We're going to triple tactic thrust a Branded in White from the deck to our hand as we fuse with the graveyard using the Albaz and the Albion, making a Borreload Furious. Borreload Furious can activate to pop the skill drain, and then we could use Branded in Red or Banishment to fuse with it to dodge the skill drain. Sure. In attack position, 3000 attack, take out the Lubellion, everything's negated. We have Welcome Labyrinth. We're not going to even chain our Lady since it's negated by the skill drain. At 29, wiping out the Coritis, which only triggers if it leaves the field by card effect, not by battle. Lovely's also negated from recycling a trap from the graveyard onto the field as we now top deck a Branded High Spirits. Now we're making big plays. The Borreload Furious activating while negated to pop the Lubellion and the skill drain. What are we doing? We're going to Branded Banishment. Now, if we fingered the Alibur, what happens here? Do we still get to fuse? You get to special summon it then. If something says then, you completely disregard everything after then if the before the then does not happen, which is to special summon it. So, first we'll chain Lady, then we'll finger the Alibur, so the before the then does not happen. So we're then going to follow up a Branded in Red to add the Alibur from the grave back to our hand to then fuse with the Borreload, dodging the skill drain, thus wiping out skill drain. Nicely done. We're also going to be popping 2 cards on the field while we're not negated by the skill drain. Lady is negated by skill drain. Wipe out that skill drain. So was Lady a good idea? No, it was a very bad idea, because then we could have used Lady to one of our newly set our other cards while the skill drain would be wiped out. So this is where, in response to the Guardian Chimera, we flip a trap, chain Lady, but now we already used our hard once return Lady while skill drain was face up. Transaction rollback, copying the effect of Impermanence to negate the Chimera. Chimera was going to draw 1, non-target, pop 2. A big play just got negated. We're going to Alibur searching for the Branded opening. With the opening, discard from our hand to summon from the deck a Quem on summon, send a Retribution, which will recycle a Branded spell or trap in the graveyard back to our hand to add back that Branded Fusion, which we have not activated this turn. We're going to use the big Welcome Labyrinth to spin the Chimera on field back to the hand to randomly YOLO 50% coin flip, take out the branded fusion from the hand before it activates. Will it go through? It all comes down to this. YOLO pop, branded fusion, set, summon, pop. The wrong card. Now we surrender. Yes? As we send from the deck to summon Albion, the branded dragon. Oh boy. You know, that was worth it, right? 50% chance. We're going to be triggering the Quem to reborn the Cartesia as the Albion fuses, likely into a Mirror Jade non-target monster banish. Yep, from the graveyard we summon it, and we are now ready. We're going to use the Daruma Cannon to flip everything face down, which we can't chain Mirror Jade. How does this work, okay? You summon Mirror Jade, and your opponent does not want you to activate the Mirror Jade, so they use the hidden effect under the dress of the Lovely, which states your opponent cannot activate monster effects in response to the activation of your normal trap cards. So how this would happen in the TCG, very easily, if they did this, and I say, no, I wanted to use my Mirror Jade before you activate, you probably would have to concede that to your opponent. They would probably win the judge call. They would get to Mirror Jade. But in Master Duel, what we had to do was toggle on. In response to our own summon, we have player priority before the Daruma activates to activate the Mirror Jade, which the Daruma turns off the Mirror Jade from activating because of the Lovely. Do you understand that? So we could have used Mirror Jade had we toggled on, but we didn't. I think, you know, a lot of people forget about that effect. Not being able to activate in response to a trap. Alrighty, Ariana, grab the clock, get flipping, chain the lady to the Welcome Labyrinth. So by not toggling on with the Mirror Jade, that may cost us the entire duel. We're going to set up the Dogmatica punishment, not activatable the turn it's set unless we discard our coup clock. We're now going to be making a Chaos Angel with 2 dark monsters on summon banish. Goodbye to the Cartesia, triggering, oh no, not triggering the Lovely as it wasn't through a trap effect. We're going to be using the Lovely to set up a Daruma to be used again, wiping up the field as we also take out the Albion, which will trigger in the end phase. Aliber also triggering to negate the Lovely for the rest of the turn. Magna Hunt banishing the Albion before it activates in the end phase. Wipe out the, oh, wow, that caused a whole freaking surrender. Toggle on, Mirror Jade, non-target monster banish the Lovely, and I think we would have been okay, right? We should have won that. Whatever fusion we would have sent would have triggered in the end phase. Their Lovely would have been gone from the duel, unless they get a Chimera to reborn it, which they, you know, it'd be more difficult to do. They could do that through the Dogmatica punishment, but it's a few turns of setting that up so that, you know, that very small detail is huge. And in the TCG, how do you convey without reminding your opponent that you're going to turn off their Mirror Jade through the Lovely blocking it without tipping them off? You'd be like, okay, do you pass priority? Wait, what do you mean? Oh, wait, oh, you want to activate a trap? Okay, I activate Mirror Jade. But then if they did pass priority, you'd activate the trap, then you win. Maxi to the fusion deployment, mate. We're going to chain Gamma, negate the Maxi. I don't think so. Now we have Chandelier and the Torby here to help set up traps in the back row, but that's not going to help us with a turn 0 play. So let's speed on through what we could do on our turn 1. Come forth, Grand Grunol, send the Titanclad summon from the deck during the end phase, the Quem, send the Albaz as we then Chandelier, discard Torby to set up the Welcome Labyrinth here, as the Cartesia also adds back to the hand, goodbye to the Gamma, and now we are here. We have Brandon Red to add from the graveyard to perform a fusion summon, which could be something like a Guardian Chimera to pop multiple cards in the field, or we may be setting up for a Mirror Jade non-target monster banish. We're going to chain Maxi to the Welcome Labyrinth as you are summoning from the deck. And Ariana. Ariana on summon, search the deck. You do not want to Ash this. You want to use Ash on Big Welcome. And, well, I mean, what if they have no back row set? They're obviously not going to be able to Big Welcome the turn that they set it, right? Well, they do have multiple ways to activate the turn it's set, through a Butler, through a Coup Clock, so you still want to wait. And what did I say? Guardian Chimera is here. We are going to draw 2, pop 1, randomly taking out that Welcome Labyrinth. There is still the Big Welcome and the Destructive Daruma ready. Albaz on summon, discard to fuse. Daruma does not work against Albaz because you could fuse with face-down monsters. Now, it works on... your own monster flips face-down, so then you can't fuse with it, so it does actually work that way, but the Albaz itself would be able to fuse with, let's say, a Link monster that was face-up. So in that instance, it could have worked should we have used it. Maybe we should have, right? Daruma the Albaz. Huh. Or, 'cause I think we're kind of screwed now, aren't we? What word is banned? Yeah, Gia, just unban words, because, yeah, we... I don't even know who our Twitch mods are, but a lot of them are lovely and help out a lot. Gia says we have too many mods. Sometimes they'll ban or do something, and you just let me know. Now, we're going to chain Big Welcome Labyrinth. Ash Blossom. Negate the Big Welcome. I don't think so, mates. As we then flip the entire field face down. Now, the mods that are doing the channel point bets, they are the real ones. I do know them, and I love them greatly. That's pretty much the main thing I love them for. Please, continue to do that. That is what is amazing. We're going to use the Branded Sword to add back a banished Albaz monster. Come back to me, my blazing Cartesia. And we are retributing our Branded in red back to our hand as the Cartesia special summon. Since we have an Albaz in the graveyard, flip up that Guardian Chimera. 3,300. As we then follow up Branded in red, and this is where you cheat. You tell your opponent, which is now legal in the TCG, surrender, please, but you can't attack directly with this newly summoned monster. Come forth, Albion. Albion can attack directly. No, it actually can't, but because it was used for the Branded red, but the newly summoned monster through the Albion, that is what can attack directly. So this is where it's now legal in the TCG, per the rules. You can now ask your opponent to concede, even though you can't attack directly with the Albion here. That's sus, isn't it? I don't know. Is that, what kind of ruling is that? Are you sure you don't want to surrender? Nah, okay, fine, main phase 2. Branded in high spirits. Lady come forth during the end phase. It seems like a toxic. I must be completely misunderstanding the purpose of that. We're going to trigger the Tourbillon Chandelier because a monster left the field through a trap effect, and so will the Welcome Labyrinth. Set, summoning, and adding back to the hand. Come back to me. We are +++ing like crazy here. A flying dino. I don't understand what's going on. It keeps on looking like you're winning until you're not. Huh. We're going to Torby. Discard Chandelier, set up from the deck a Big Welcome Labyrinth here. As we then set our Call by the Grave Finger, we have Welcome, Big Welcome, Lady to chain to our traps, Call by the Grave, get Finger, and we got the Boardlord Furious. Use the Albion to send from the deck a Branded Opening, which will protect our fusions from being destroyed by card effects. As we bring in High Spirits, chain to the Albion, get into the graveyard to then grab a Springin's Kit. Now the kit, when it adds, has to return back in the deck, so this is not that good. We need another card in the hand so that we can add back the Branded Fusion and then use it. Did we realize that that was going to happen? Yeah, so let me highlight that for clarity so you all understand. If this card is summoned, add a Branded, thank you Konami, add a Branded spell trap that is banished or in the deck or in the graveyard, add it to your hand, and then put a card from your hand to the bottom of the deck. All right, that is a 2-0. Let's hop in another match. This is a turn 2 deck. It's all about going second. Urgent schedule. Your opponent has to control more monsters than you do to special summon 2 from the deck. This is summoning a Jowgin. So Jowgin is an issue here, right? We summon the Jowgin onto the field through the effect of the Albion Sanctifier, and then the Jowgin states that neither player could special summon monsters, but we do have an Ancient Gear Advance, which could very simply just deal with it. We could tribute it off. Once per turn, you could tribute a monster, so if this deck ever gets Iblied, just tribute off the Floodgate, not even a problem. And we are doing it. We're going to chain the Urgent Schedule. which the Ash Blossom will negate, which will now, we already have the Thrust activatable thanks to the Sanctifier to add a spell from our deck to our hand, negate the effect, thus we can't have another copy, that would be activatable. We summon that Jowgen. Now the problem is you summon the Jowgen onto your own field, because otherwise you would activate the effect of Jowgen to destroy itself, so very easily, while you can't just play this in any other deck you want, you just attack into it. Attack in a Jowgen, it's gone, you can now special summon. Well, the barrier of the Voiceless is making it so you have to attack into the ritual monster, thus you can't attack into the Jowgen. Okay, fine. How about I negate it with a card effect? I'll target it. You can't, because the barrier, not only protecting it from battle, it can't be targeted by card effects. So what could we thrust into our hand to not get screwed? We're gonna advance into a Catapult, advance Tribute off to draw a card here, thrust any card from our deck to our hand as it gets negated by the Skull Guardian. We have not used up our normal summon yet. Okay, sure. Surely this is not over yet. We have the Wyvern activate to search our deck for the Ancient Gear Fortress. By activating it, the Wyvern is now untargetable, indestructible by card effect, as we then realize in the battle phase we actually can't attack into that Jowgen. That's it. All right, the ultimate turn 2 deck just got floodgated by a Jowgen. Now, what do you do after getting floodgated by a Jowgen? For game 2, you tell them to go first again, and then they just do it again. So, it's like a checkmate if they have a crazy floodgate like Jowgen. All right, you know, just to get to the top 16 like this, to then get Jowgened. Probably the only player within the top 16 with this Jowgen lock, by the way. We're going to advance, grab the Fortress. Again, you know, we can't deal with the Jowgen. There's a pop, there's a negate, can't battle into it, can't target it. And our turn. So immensely toxic. I could not freaking believe it. Blessing, recycle the Radiance to pop more cards in the field. Lethal damage as we hop into game 2. Which we choose for Voiceless to go first again, right? There's no reason to go first with our Ancient Gear deck, do we? We have Saphira send from the deck, searching for the Prayer of the Void. I should say sending it from the deck to then, you know, search for our Skull Guardian. We've got the low. This is when I would imperm. Cannot use Ash on this. We're going to Saphira, banish, chain the Maxi. As we then chain the Radiance to shuffle back into the deck a ritual spell or monster to then summon from the deck. Yes, no, we're actually searching. We're searching for another low because we could tribute the low from the hand to then reborn itself back in the field to help make cards like Anaconda, which then go into Jowgen. We now have our monster negate. Now, what's great is we have Droplet. Droplet, whoa, was not able to make Anaconda. Droplet could non-target negate the Sanctifier. It could also non-target negate the Jowgen. So while they have all this targeting protection and negates, Droplet is the way. And even a Kaiju, if they don't already have Jowgen in the field, you could special summon it, tributing over. Santa Claus is here with the Ancient Gear Fortress into an urgent schedule. Come forth and summon from the deck. This monster is negated, so do not activate it on summon here. That'd be a huge mistake. We're going to super poly that field before you make any plays into a Garura. Can we follow up? We have the Ancient Gear Frame, which is going to be met with a Sarvis. Sarvis will chain to a monster effect or card effect to then summon the other Sarvis, which we have not done yet, interestingly enough. We're going to grab the Catapult. We're going to be tributing, draw a card. Catapult's going to be popping off the advance to then summon from the deck the Dark Golem. This is a big choke point, but you can't choke it if it's untargetable, indestructible, and non-chainable. You can't chain to it, nothing. So we can't even use the Sarvis to this because if you're wondering, why is he holding on to the Sarvis? Can't activate cards or effects in response to the activation of an Ancient Gear card, not just a monster, but any Ancient Gear card the Sarvis can't chain to. Grabbing the Ancient Gear Duel. Grabbing, yes, sure. Now, does the Fortress say you can only not chain to a card or also the effect? Because we're going to banish from the graveyard to set up a, that's going to be a card effect, not a card activation. So it does also protect from that. Yup, cards and effects. It's super protection. Can't chain to the commander setting up the Ancient Gear Duel. Can't chain to the statue summoning from the deck a tanker, activating to reborn from the grave, to then Shokan into an Ancient Gear Ballista. Can I imperm this? No, you can't. As I grab a Gear Town. Gear Town, you can finally chain. It's a non-Ancient Gear card. Damn. That was the first opportunity after, what, 10 activations of a non-Ancient Gear card finally allowing us to summon a Skull Guardian, which will now be able to negate, but we can't chain to the Ancient Gear Ballista. We can negate the Gear Town summoning from the deck, though. We can chain Droplet to negate the Skull Guardian from negating the Gear Town from summoning a monster from the deck. Negate. As we then summon from the deck or graveyard, we summon a tanker. What the tanker? Huh? What? Wait, what's going on here? We summon a tanker instead of summoning from the deck. Tanker activating to pop the Dark Golem. What? Target all monsters, gain, destroy it also. Okay, so it does not have to destroy it. It's also. So even if it doesn't destroy it, all your monsters will still gain a 600 attack boost. Ancient Gear Duel is going to be fusing before it gets popped. Banishing for the graveyard to come forth and summon an Ancient Gear Golem. What can we do about this Golem as it gets boosted up to 5,000 attack, right? Resolve it, boost. So we read the Ancient Gear Duel. Ancient Gear Golem and any monster that mentions it in your monster zone are unaffected by your opponent's activated monster effects. Also, the monster can make 3 attacks, and it's 5,000. Also can't be targeted, can't be destroyed. So 5,000, and what else? If this attacks a defense monster, inflict piercing battle damage. Also, your opponent cannot activate spell or trap cards until the end of the damage step while attacking. So 5k, 3 attacks, piercing battle damage. Is this enough for game? Let's go. Attack number 1, 2,500. Attack number 2. Oh my gosh. You're not dying. Why are you not dying? It's because the blessing. The monster you summon cannot be destroyed by battle. Well, why don't we pierce the low? She's right there. She's, come on. She's so pierceable at the moment. But the barrier states you cannot attack the non-ritual if you control a low and a ritual. So the indestructible by battle through the blessing is continually the only monster that we can attack into, even though there's a sweet low at 50 attack, 0 defense, Garua for a 5,000 right through that, and we only have 3 attacks. That's it. 500 short. Ain't no way. We couldn't do anything about it. Wow. So the way to out this, if you can, target it, which is untargetable due to the barrier, you use a Ballista. The Ballista can reduce a monster to 0 attack and 0 defense, but again, it has to target. You target a face-up monster opponent controls, reduce it to 0 attack, 0 defense. Unfreaking believable. I mean, we had it. We had everything. Now, we still have a 4,400 unaffected from activated monster effects due to the Ancient Gear Duel. It is targetable because the fortress is no longer protecting it from being targeted, as we now have our Skull Guardian. Skull Guardian will protect us from a targeting effect. We have Dynamundo, as we use the Saphira from the grave to banish to ritual summon into our Saravis. As we now use the Radiance to get poppin', taking out the fortress and the Gear Duel, which will trigger the fortress to reborn an Ancient Gear monster from the graveyard. It ain't happening. Now, let's further Shokan this up into a Little Knight. Little Knight on summon, banishing the Ancient Gear Golem. We now cannot attack directly, but we got the setup. We got Max C, Super Poly, Imperm. We have Skull Guardian, which will be able to negate anything. We also are setting up... Wait, you can't pay. You have 500 life, mate. What are you doing? You're going to Super Poly? What is this? 2,000 life to fuse into the Sanctifier. You cheater! Off the top of the deck, Santa Claus is here. Maxi to draw off of that Santa Claus. Tribute off for it. We're going to Radiance within that Tribute. Dynamundo Reborn, our properly ritual summoned monster. Only if it was properly ritual summoned, that is. So it's going to be Reborn here, as the Radiance is also further protection and pop cards on the field. Damn, close one. 500 life. And it's all because of the barrier and the blessing, forcing you to attack into the monster that could not be destroyed by battle. Holy moly. Ain't that something? Now, Droplet is unfortunately a reduction onto attack only. So had we been able to use Droplet onto the monster that we were attacking into, it would not have the defense to get that piercing battle damage to be enough for lethal. That was really unfortunate. Unbelievable. You got floodgated game 1, and then some nonsense for game 2 you lost to. But I'm still happy you got in the top 16. Thank you, Frost Dracony. We have 1, 2, 3 negates on the Apollo, 4 through the Ash Blossom. We have triple disruption in the back row through flip down, pop, and negate. So we are at 5, 6, 7 disruption plus a max C with a 6-card hand. How do we beat this? We drew an Effect Veiler late. Not cool. As we now summon Preventer, send Preventer, we're going to finger the Preventer, thus preventing it from summoning a banished monster. We're going to alert. Not rescue. Where's rescue? What? Oh, we added it from the graveyard back to our hand instead of rescuing it. Okay, we still dodged the finger. That works out. Summon the Hydrant. We're going to max C on the resolution of that. So not only do we have 7 disruption, we're going to be drawing possible... Whoa, we just deleted 3 disruption by Subversion, pushing that Apollo into the back row. We're going to contain the Alchanics, negating, and preventing it from attacking, and it cannot be used for a monster for the extra deck. We're going to follow up Bonfire, Ash, negate. We're already down to just 2 disruptions, mate. But after 2 disruptions, that is enough to completely stop our follow-up play, or I should say, just our turn 2 play, as we now hop into game 2. Wanted Seeker in the draw phase to help play around a Droll, as we now send the Subversion, summon the Diablo Star. When do we Ash Blossom? It's good to use it on something like great options, but then you get fingered. Ash fingered. Now, what do? We have full turn 1 wombo combo play. Let's speed this up and get to the end field. That guy Kamari, thank you for the 4 months. Officially, I'm at the closet for you. And with that said, we have a bunch of disruption. We have the Mask Arena, which will be a Little Knights banish. And we do have the Apollo, which will be a triple monster negate. So we're up to 5 disruption through that. We have the Amble Whale, which will be able to pop a card very likely, as we are going to chain summon the Mask Arena. So we lose out on our triple negate. So we're now down to just from 9 disruption as the Apollo negates the Mask Arena. So we lose Mask Arena effect, lose Mask Arena. We're now down to 4 disruption. Boy, are we losing all of our disruption. That is crazy. Give me your Flame Burge. Flame Burge is going to push the Amble Whale. We just lost another disruption. We lost the ability to summon Promethean, so that's gone. We lost the ability to get out our Avata, that's gone. We lost the ability to trigger the Runick, Triple Tactics, Talent, and Flame Burge. All 3 were needed to turn 9 disruption into 0. So in today's event, we have Ancient Gear and Umi Control. Both are turn 2 decks in the top 16. Now, Mannadium is known for setting up an absolutely card B. Mannadium something? Wait, our turn ended? That was kind of trash. Wait, Mannadium's not even on the win rate? What? Wow. What a bust. That thing, I don't get it. Huh? Are we purposely not putting bodies on the field to have our hearts changed or stolen with the Widow Anchor? Huh? Willip wanted to change the duel to essentially go second. We can't summon it onto the field. So that actually is working out. I think Willip purposely is, this is legally cheating. You probably should not be knowing what your opponent's playing for the first time playing them, but you do. We're going to Light Heart it up. We now can attack. So Light Heart is going to search our deck. We're going to Phantasme, special summon into the Widow Anchor, negate. Now, the Phantasme is going to draw 2, then return a card back. Maybe we draw into a good hand trap here. No, we did not. Phantasme, if you try to target a card we control, we can discard a card to negate. And that's it. That's our only form of disruption. And with Mannadium being a deck full to the brim with high-tier gas, very likely that one-time negate of a targeting effect is not going to be enough. Let's speed this up. Let's get to it. Let's actually flame it on for this. Are you ready? Let's go. Baron to floor, get poppin'. Not going to try to negate a card that could negate us. As now the cross sheath with the Baron to floor, it's gonna boost up the field. Boost! Chainlink block the targeting pop. Yep. Damage on the field. Damn. Body on the field. The Umi deck does have a way to get Karyushin without stealing a monster and tribute summon it. I've been able to set up our plays. So here's the situation. We want to go second. We choose for them to go first. Are they going to pull the same nonsense again for game 2? Allows the triple attack. Is not even activatable unless your opponent controls a monster. So against Ancient Gear and Umi, Goblin Mate, and oh my gosh. Just as bad as game 1. It's just able to get Karyushin out on our very first turn. It's a very powerful card that restricts both players from having more than one non-water on the field. So, wait, that's a water right there. This with Actionary Ocean reduces the level of Karyushin to 4 in the hand to then just normal summon it. And then you win. See, Stealth Attack would protect the Karyushin. They'd be locked out from making any of these plays. Willip had no out to a Karyushin on field. The problem was just getting the Karyushin out. Let's speed this up. We are going to be reborning our ball. After popping a ball, 1 pop equal 2 balls on the field. We're going to special summon the red card, grab the Arrival. New monsters on the field in defense. We got the Baron to floor, wham bam, thank you ma'am, play. Again, negate the effect targeting me, but chain link blocks the cross sheep to up the field. Reborn from the grave, get poppin'. And that is just like game 1, 12,200 damage. Lethal. Yeah. Is our only good turn 1 the Legendary Ocean Karyushin, though? And that would be something. That is unfortunate, but all is well, getting top 16. Grand finale plus all the top deck lists in the video that will be posted tomorrow. Let's go.